Alright, and once again, welcome to Accudemia Getting Started webinar. We've got a lot of things that we want to cover, so I'm going to go through these real quick. We're going to be setting up the Accudemia for your center. There's a lot of things there that we're going to be covering. Then we're going to go over the control panel settings. And each one of these control a different aspect of how your Accudemia is going to look and feel and react to the users. So then we're going to go through setting up a Signin Station for your labs, importing your college information, and then also at the end generating the reports, so we can get something out of all the data. Okay, and just to start off with the very first thing, and you guys can follow along if you have your Accudemia site pulled up as well, and kind of get an idea for where all this is. I'm going to start off here, and then I'm actually going to go through and go into Accudemia and show you where all this is anyway. The first part here is just setting up your time zone. You're going to go to your control panel, and under localization options, click on that. You're going to choose what time zone your college falls in. So it's pretty simple. We also have some other things there, like the default language, the emails when they're sent out from the system, how you want those to appear. And if you don't, have a preference, if you don't want to get anything back to a particular email, you can just leave the no reply at accudemia.net. Those will just get, fallen off there. So go ahead and you would save the changes and you'd be all done with setting that up. But that's very important because you want to have all your times set correctly. The next thing here is we're going to be setting up your ID format. This is going to match what you see on your student ID cards. And basically right here is the screen. You go to your control panel, and under user accounts, you're going to be setting your ID mask. In my instance, I have a letter to start off with and then all numbers. So I would use the capital L here with the 9s afterward. And you can also use dashes if you want to separate the numbers out. And you just save your changes and go on from there. There were some other options, but we'll go through those when we go through the control panel options. Next thing is setting up your centers. So we have, to do that, we have to go into your centers and classrooms. And with the centers and classrooms, this is where you'll create every area of the school that you're going to be having students log into. So the very first thing that we're going to be doing is creating one of those. So you would click on Create New. It's going to take you to the Create New center. You're going to choose, what center or what type it is, rather, whether it's a center or an actual classroom. Fill in the name and the description. And you may want to actually add some services that are going to be taking place in there. So you'll go through, click on that Services tab. And this is just to show that it's over on the Services tab. You're going to click Add Service, type in whatever service it is that you're going to be offering there, and hit Accept. That screen will go away, but before you exit out of here, you want to save the changes. That way it saves your center name and description as well as all the services that you added to that. And this is where it'll show up right here at the bottom. Okay, and let's see, the next thing here is setting up your semester dates. You got to have the terms outlined, basically how long your semester is going to be. And to do that, it's a pretty quick thing, so that way you don't have to import these. You can, though, if you'd like, if you have that in a separate CSV file. And we'll go into importing here in a minute, but this is how you would create it. You just click on Create New after clicking on the terms on your left-hand side. You're going to go and fill in your information. It's just basically a name for it and when the start and end date is. You also use this calendar here and choose the dates that way, and then just save the changes. And then you have your list of all your terms that your classes are going to take place in. So, alright, and the next thing would be to enter your college off times. What the off times are is basically like your hours of operation and also like the holidays that you're going to have during that semester. When you want to set this up, you're going to go to the left side where all the navigation is. Click on off times. First thing when you get there, you're going to see the center off times. You're going to want to filter what term you're applying these to. If you do, for instance, what I selected was term mode, this is basically going to show me what hours the center is going to be available. So at this point I would basically click and drag and it'll create a box and it'll ask me what is that going to be. So I'll fill in, okay, it's off time, the school is closed during those hours. Save that, and then I have that saved in there, that those are the hours that the school or that center is going to be available. And you can also do that with all holidays and things like that. If you change it to one of the other modes, it'll basically show you the monthly view and you can set those holidays. Alright, and then the final thing, with just the initial setup of your centers, is to create your college news. Basically this is a screen that your tutors and your instructors are going to see when they first log into Accudemia. And you're going to find that on your control panel under announcements. When you click there, the announcements will come up, and it's basically like a word editor where you have very familiar formatting tools, and you can put in different things. Like I even put my Google Calendar in here for the college, so that way I can have all the dates listed for the school holidays and the events that are going on. And you can actually put your Google ID right in there and then save your changes. That's the big thing, just make sure you save changes before you click off. Alright, and this takes us to the control panel settings. We're going to go through those, and I'm actually going to go in Accudemia and illustrate what each one of these will do. So let's go back over here. Okay. Alright, so the first thing under here is we have the general settings. You'll notice the screen comes up every time we click on one of these links in the control panel. Basically what this is asking is what center do we want to apply this to. You can either do it at the college level, or you can do whichever center that you want to select that for. We're just going to do the college level here at first. Okay, and in here you can see there's a lot of different options here. First would be the calendar, how you want your calendar to show up when you're looking at things like the tutor schedule, the class hours that are offered, things like that. Basically you have whether you want a week view, 2-week view, what the first day of the week should be, Sunday, Monday, however you want to do it. And then your start and end times for that that calendar, how you want that to show. We also have some things like the maximum time that the students can be logged in. I have mine set to 2 hours with the default of 60 minutes. You also have messages in case they have been in that long, saying that it's going to sign them out. And then you have some other options like how a non-existent student is recorded. You can either reject and discard it, have it record in standby so you have a record of it, but it won't actually take effect until you manage it. So there's different options for the sign-in. And then these last few sections here, you have how your stations are set up for, can the students view what tutors are in, can the tutor view what students are signed in. And then this other has to do with iAccu, which is a cool app for your iPhone or iPad, and it monitors the swipes and things, how those are handled. Alright, so that's pretty much our general. If you made any changes, you would want to save those. The next section here we're going to go through is the walk-ins. And under walk-ins, you get the same screen, so we're just going to do it for the college level. This is how the screen would automatically appear when they sign into the Signin Station. We've got basically the 4 different areas: tutors, instructors, subject area, and services. You can have, none of these show up, or make them required or optional. And you can choose whether they display at the sign in or sign out. And let's see, we have, if we make this optional or required, you can actually use the student enrollment information, and you could have like a default one show up right away. Let's see. And I just had it set to not show, but I knew there was one that it actually had the ones that were in there under default. But that's something cool. So whenever they log into the sign-in, this is what they're going to see, and you can change that differently for each center that you have. Alright, and then we're going to go to appointments here. This is our next area. This is going to manage how the appointments can be scheduled, and how the appointments will work with the tutors, and basically set up all the restrictions. You have here in the first section, they can't cancel an appointment less than whatever minutes before the session is to happen. And here under creating the appointments, you have restrictions as far as they have to set it at least 4 hours out, however long you want to set. And you can also set how many max hours that the student or the teacher could be in appointments. Also, you can set up if the people don't show up. You could say if they don't show up 3 times in a month, that they have to, they can't do it on their own. They'd have to come see you so that you could clear it. Alright, and then the maximum duration of the appointments, and how far the default appointment length is. Also some of the tolerance, like if they're 15 minutes early they can come in, or if they're 15 minutes late. And then the days of the weeks that these appointments are allowed to happen. Okay, and this new appointments deals with how often they have to keep their information up to date. And you have new appointment default screen. You can do it by the date or by the tutor, depending on how you want that to show up. And you also have the email notifications, or even text messaging, which is actually kind of cool new feature that they have. You just have to have the phone numbers for the students in order to do that. Alright, the next section here is the classroom attendance. These are all your options. You have the tolerances, and the difference between this, we were just looking at the appointments, and that only applied to if somebody was scheduling an appointment. These are more of the classes when they're actually set to go through what your tolerances are for someone being late, and duration of the default times that they're there. And then this is also here is something is about unresolved sign-ins, as if there's a student that signs in that's either not in the system, how do you want that handled? And it'll actually show up on the system administrator screen to make those changes or contact that student, and then the days of the week that those classes would occur. Okay, and these are the website settings section here. Now this announcements we've actually already been to. This is the announcements for, you can do the college or whichever center, and this is where I had set my welcome tutors, instructors who would be logging in the system to maybe edit sessions of the students, or check any messages that they may have gotten through the system, whatever they're going to do. And I've imported the Google Calendar in here. So alright, and then the next section is the appearance and themes. This is how you want your particular sign-in station to look. I'm going to just choose the library here on this one, because I have this one actually kind of customized so we can kind of see what it looks like. Let me hide that. Okay. Alright, and then one of the cool things, you've got your options along here. If you see there's a little square right here at the very end, you can click on that. That way you can see the full thing without having to scroll through that little window. And so right here I'm editing just the library, computer lab. I put my hours, any messages or notes that I want to put up there for people to see at that sign-in station. We're going to go more into that. I have a section on that. So, alright, and then this brings us to the user accounts, which I think we saw in the PowerPoint, but we didn't go through it all the way. This is where I can set my ID mask for the student ID length and basically format. But I can also in here, I can make certain things required, phone number being required, and use a mask as well. Address, password has to meet complexity requirements. Usually the basic Microsoft complexity requirements, like has to have a capital, lowercase, must have a letter and number in it, and things like that. You can also do access restrictions as far as what they can do when they're logged in. Can students view the login sessions on their screen? Do you want the tutors to be able to edit the sessions and everything? Usually that's handy if you don't want to have to make all the corrections. And then also the tutors can do bulk sign in or bulk sign out if you have them wanting to just sign everybody in at once and sign everybody out. And then this is the like the profile questions. It says extended profile. Who should be able to see that? So if you wanted your tutors, instructors, and system users, but not the students necessarily, you would have those checked appropriately. And then this last section here is communication. Excuse me. And communication here is where you're going to be able to enable messaging, which actually this bottom bar here, if you guys can see it on my screen, basically will come up if you do enable these settings. Enable messaging allows you to send an email out to either a group of users or individuals through Accudemia, and it kind of works similar to some of the online social media where you can basically, you get the message in Accudemia, but you also get that email sent out to the person. And so for instance, I don't know, like if I wanted to do my freshmen, I choose the user groups, and I can't spell that. Okay, so then that's going to be sent out to all freshmen. And if I have some formatted templates, I would just copy and paste those in there, and then put the subject of whatever. And this is just a random message that I'd like to send. The system has some templates already in there. We'll find where that's at here in a minute. You can also send text messages to if they have their phones in the system. And it also has the same kind of thing. So it's going to look for somebody that matches. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So then you'll just put them in there, and it'll pull their phone number and send them a text message. And then you can check your inbox and also use a neat little chat feature here if other users are logged in. Alright, so there's a lot in there, and if I'm going a little quick, I'm just trying to save time, so if we do have questions, and also some of the other topics that we go through are going to be a little bit more. Here is the terminology section, and this is basically where you're going to rename different things that we call in Accudemia. Maybe you want to call your tutors counselors instead because you really don't have tutors, so you would just change these right in here. Oops, I can't spell. Okay. So yeah, and you do it differently for each one of them. If it's the plural version, whatever, you can copy that even. paste it in there. That way when it shows up and when you actually change this, I'm gonna change this real quick just so you can kind of see. The only thing when you're reading about it, if you go through like our support documentation, you're gonna maybe get confused, and if not, I mean, you can always go back to that terminology section so that you know what that means. So if we go down in here, let's see, yeah, so counselor schedule is now in here instead of tutor schedule. So at that point I can actually see that, you know, okay, it's talking my language, you know, this is what I have, not, you know, tutors necessarily. So it's a really neat feature. And then the next section is email templates. These are the programmed canned messages that get sent out depending on what the user is doing. Usually with the appointments, I've set all mine up for appointments, but you'd basically click on create new. In the drop down they have the pre-done I guess you will templates, and like if for instance I don't have this one, so I'll go ahead and create this. Request a password change, so we'll hit continue. So they basically give you a general format which you can actually go ahead and add to and edit any way you want. You can even import information from you know, like for instance whoever it's being sent to, you can put their first name, last name. We just have first name up here, so if you wanted to you could change that and just put in the last name as well. And once you got it the way you want, you're just going to save the changes. Okay, and that's whenever somebody requests a password change, that's what they're actually going to get, an email sent to them. So that's pretty good there. Alright, so let's go back to our control panel. And localization, we've seen this. I think we went pretty much over that. It was the time zone, the language. You could also set like the default email for the system, like what you want the name and the email address to show up as. Alright, and the profile questionnaire here, this is really cool. It's kind of new as well. If you guys haven't used this feature, if you guys have been using the system a while, it's something they just kind of added. The profile questionnaire here is basically kind of like our surveys. You can go in and create a questionnaire and, you know, have multiple choice answers. Something that they could, a text answer would be something that they could just type in the answer, and then once you get all this created, you can either import that if you have that information already from another system and upload it straight to the profile questionnaires, and it'll actually keep all that information. I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to go to under administration here. I'm going to go to my students, for instance. And I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to edit them. Okay, oops, I don't have any profiles for this guy. Let me try this one. I know I do for her. Okay, well, it was showing up in here. You'd actually have the profile questionnaire showing up on another tab here. So I'll have to, I'm not sure if I didn't import the data for these people or it's, you know, been moved at the moment, but alright, so we'll get back to that. We're going to go back to the control panel, and I think we're just about done. Right here, the whiteboard section. This is actually a new program that we're offering as well. It basically takes you to Accudemia, which is a web-based program where you can launch a whiteboard meeting with, if you have students that you want to tutor, or if you guys want to have like a meeting and everybody's in different locations. This is the perfect solution. Normally this screen would take you, if you're new, it's going to take you to the put in your username and password, but mine's already set up, so I'd click on launch the whiteboard, and then it takes me right into my account here. So I'm going to go into the demo. Okay, once this loads, as you can see, there's it's your whiteboard. Everybody who signs into this can actually see this, and you can basically, there's a lot of things that are done that you can send in here. You have a math equation calculator that you can throw into here that uses some of the LaTeX equation editor software that basically inserts that in just like it would appear in a textbook. It's really neat. And then you also have something like this Wolfram Alpha button that you can click on that, search for anything, and it basically pulls up the like an encyclopedia, and it throws it right into the whiteboard. So if you wanted to pull up information on something really quickly without even having to jump out of here, you can actually just throw it into there. And it gives you a lot of information on that. So it's really cool, and you can share files and things. These assets here, these are all files that could be shared between the users. So we're going to get out of here because I could spend another whole session on that. Alright, and let's go back to, okay, so we just covered all the control panel settings, and it was a little quick. I did also record this, so we can go back and review those again. Okay, and we're at the point now where we're going to set up a sign-in station. This is basically how the students are going to sign into your attendance tracking. So how do we get there? Appearance and themes, that's basically where you went and you created the look and feel of that sign-in screen. And that's under the control panel. You're going to go with appearance and themes. And we created it in the editor, so you can take your time and create the editor. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a PC as a sign-in station. I'm really quickly going to show you how to do that. So if we're in Accudemia, over on the left-hand side under Administration, you'll see Sign-in Stations, and then we're going to go to Computers. And when we get to the sign-in stations, we're going to want to make me a sign-in station. Basically, we're going to create this computer to be a sign-in station. So if you wanted students to log in at this computer, and you would do this on the individual computer, but for testing, you could actually make yourself this sign-in station, remove yourself, and try a different location and things like that. So when we click on this make me a sign-in station, first thing it wants to know is where. So we're going to simulate that we're at the library or computer lab here. I'm just going to name this. I actually had a name for it. Here we go. Alright, and we'll just say library computer. And save the changes. And then what it did right there is it just basically created a cookie on this computer that will stay on here, and whenever the student walks up, it'll think it's in this in the library. And what we're going to do is, at this point, once you've made yourself a sign-in station, you actually have this button here that says remove this sign-in station. So if you're ever going to change the computers around, and maybe you're going to move this one off to another area, you could always just remove it and then create it in its new lab wherever that was going to be. But basically, I'm going to sign out real quick, and with those settings that we've done, you can see it's change the look and feel of the way they're signing in. And I'm going to sign in as a student real quick and basically just choose like their options that they have. If you notice, it did change from tutors to counselors now, and then sign them in. Okay, and it just gives you a nice little green bar telling you that, hey, you've signed in. Once that goes away, we're fine. We're just going to log her out. Okay, and this is a tutor questionnaire because they went to go see a tutor, and this says tutor because this was something that I actually, you'd have to change the title on it basically to however you wanted on this. It's like an exit survey, but I'm just going to cancel out. And then you'll see a message saying that they've signed out. Have a good day. Alright, so let me log back in. Okay, so here's my login screen, and this is like the college news basically right here that we've edited in the control panel under the announcement section. So it has my calendar there. Alright, so we've done that. We've signed in and out of our sign-in station. And now we're going to go on to import. Going to be importing our data. Basically, all the stuff that we've done, creating, that stuff was just to get us ready to take in all of our different data fields so that it can interact with it. And we basically separate that into like 3 different groups. You have user imports, center imports, enrollment imports. And just under those, there's different import files. And if you go on our documentation site, you'll see that they actually have a different format for each one of these students, tutors, instructors. You can separate them out like that, or if you prefer, if you get it from like maybe another program and have it all in one import, you can definitely do that too. And the first thing you need to do is grab a program called the Accudemia Data Exchange, or ADX for short. And to do that, you're going to go to your Accudemia, and on the left-hand side, under Administration, it's going to be Advanced and Import. Okay, so when you get here, you can read over the overview. It basically gives you an idea of what all it's going to do. But you basically need to go ahead and get the program. So we're going to click on the download. You want to save the file. It's a setup.exe. Okay, and once it's downloaded, you'll double click on it. You want to run it. And for me, it will realize that I've already installed it and just open it for me anyway. Alright. Okay, once you've got the program installed and you're here, the very first thing, you're not going to have all these already in here. These are the ones that I've created. But you're going to want to do a new import job right up here in the top left. Alright, and then the very first thing that you're going to want to do is tell it what type of file it is. We use a comma separated value, or CSV file, and I think that's the only option really we have there. So there might be other ones, but I think that's the only one that'll let you take at the moment. And we're going to select the file. So basically we're just going to browse our computer here and see where the file's at. I'm just going to do the sample student one. Okay. And then we're going to click on Next. Okay, this is all the students' records here. What you want to do is you're actually going to be mapping what you have in your CSV file to particular fields in the Accudemia system. So that way your information will match, our information the way we organize it. So you just go through here, like we have the student number is what they call the student user ID. So you're going to link that up to each other. You have the first name, middle initial, okay, and last name. And you'll basically go through this. I'm not going to do everything because there's a lot to them. What I want you to do also make note of is the profile questions being answered. I already had this information, so I wanted to update their profile. So I went ahead and put those in there, and you don't actually have to select anything in here. It's because of this format right here with the @ symbol and the page number and the question number. It's basically letting us know that that's profile questions, so you don't map it to anything. You're going to hit next. What it's going to tell you is a brief summary of what it found. You can actually click on each one of these and it's going to show you the data that it picked up on. So basically that's all we asked was, give me a user ID, first and last name. You could do it just that simply if you wanted to. And then the next screen here, we're going to go to, and basically this is how it handles everything. I left mine set to default, but there are some different things, like you can overwrite the data in the instructors or students, or overwrite assignments when it comes to enrollment and everything. But I'm going to leave those alone. We're going to just go next. I'm going to give it a name. So for instance, this was my student import, so student. Alright, and then I'm going to finish. Alright, and we're going to look for what I named it. There it is. Okay, so we'll make sure we have that selected. I'm going to click on View Details. And then what you would do is you would go ahead and click on this Run Import Now. And I actually, since I already had this installed, one thing, the way that it knows that it's your information, there was a screen that popped up, but it kind of went away. It actually wants your login information as far as what the domain of the site is, like myuniversity.accudemia.net, and then your login information. So that is going to be how it knows how to import it to your particular site. But we would click on this Run Now. It says, are you sure you want to do that? And you just give it a moment. It's going to take and import that in there. Now the cool thing is, if it already has student information, like let's say you at the beginning you went ahead and imported, or you went ahead and input manually the students, as long as if the information matches, if it recognizes that wait, this ID has already been used for the student, it's not going to it'll basically overwrite that and not just keep putting more and more in this in your records. And one thing I just want to make note of here on this one, because we did the student, it did find all those profile questions and updated that as well. Because if you notice right here, not only did it find the 20 students, but it also found the 80 profile question, which there was 4 questions for the 20 students. So go figure. So, all right. And that's pretty much it. You can also automate this process where it'll actually do this over and over. Where is it? We're going to enable the schedule right here. And for instance, this one is triggered to do daily every day at 2 a.m. Basically, you would do new and basically set it up to begin on a schedule. That way you could have it reoccur and set in all your information, whether you want it done monthly, one time. If you don't set this up, it'll just do it when you ask it to by clicking the Run Import Now. But right here under Schedule, you would enable it and set that up. And that way you won't even have to come back to this again. So it'll just take your record and automatically import everything. I know that was pretty brief and basic on there, but we will probably be doing some other training sessions on the individual things like importing. Alright, and the last thing here is going to be generating reports. This is what it comes down to. Basically, you put all the data in, and now you want to get something back out of it. You have 3 basic sections here. You have administrative reports, center attendance reports, and class attendance reports. And basically, if you go back over to your Accudemia, it's actually organized that way too. You have under administration, these are your administrative reports. Under center attendance, you have your reports there, and you have your class attendance reports at the bottom. Alright, and basically you can choose any of these depending on what the information you're looking for. And I've actually got a few of them already done, but we can go through one of them too real quick. Let's do an attendance report for the class. I want to see all the absentees, so we're going to click on that. You can get real specific if you want to see like a specific person's record. If you don't have anything selected, it's just going to go with all of them. Or you hit accept, it'll choose all of them individually. But we're just going to go ahead and view that report. But you do also have the option of changing the format. You can do an Excel, Word document, CSV, however you want the format. Usually it's defaulted to a PDF though. So I'm going to click View Report. It's going to take a moment to figure out all the data. And then you would click the View Result. Okay, so these are the results. These are the people that have been absent in the class, and there's probably a lot on this list because I don't always sign in the students even though they have a class schedule. So alright, and let's just take a look at some of the other reports that we have here. Some of the ones that I kind of have already generated for us. This one here would be like an attendance one, and I'm doing it by service. So for instance, this service here was tutoring in the library, and it basically tells me the sign in, sign out times and what the area of subject that they were signing in and out for here. We went through the class absentees. Let's see, visitor history report. So this would tell you how many times each person was in the center and how long the last visit was. Okay, and those are some of the basic reporting. One of the other cool things is you also have something that has a lot of power to it, and it's a traffic analysis under the center attendance here. This will basically help you with determining staffing needs and things like that, because you're going to be able to see what what the busiest times of the day, busiest times of the week are, and you have all these different options, and basically it'll actually create either a list or a chart for you depending on what information you want. If you don't want all this, then you can get rid of it. We're going to go with like a visit reports. I'm going to have all of them selected. Leave that there. It's going to take a while because that's a lot of data for it to process. And you even have the option here to give an email once it completes. So if that's something you'd want to do, it says, okay, I'll email you when it's done. Okay, so we've got it here, and this one's actually got multiple things in it, so we're going to go ahead and open the file. And here's all the reports here, so I can just see all of the reports in one big go around without having to do them individually as well. So there's the visits by hour and day, what times of the day. Visits by week, how many were on each day of the week. You can see the chart here. Just gives you a picture representation. I haven't been in and out of it with my students a lot, but I guess Wednesday I did. Okay, but that's the basics of running the reports. What we're going to do now is I want to get to some of the questions. Also want to let you guys know that we do have some support and documentation out there. Basically, the website you see up at the top is the Accudemia user voice. It's actually a new site here where you can actually send up to 10 votes on different ideas that you have for changes to the system. If you see anything that you'd like implemented that's not already in there, you can go ahead and post that. Also, if you see something that somebody else has submitted, you can actually go ahead and weigh in on that, and you can add up to 3 votes per idea. So that's one thing. The other thing is support@accudemia.com. If you have any specific issues to your school, we can go ahead and help you resolve them with that. You just email us there. And then the best thing down here is this is where I got all the information from. It's right off of our documentation website at the bottom, the attendancetracking.com/docs/docu.php/Accudemia. And basically this has all the information. You can see we've kind of updated it, try to put some videos in there as well, so you guys can go through and watch a video on it. It's a little bit more interactive. Here. Get to some of these questions here. And how do you add a picture to your welcome screen? Okay, that one, what we're going to do is, I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to go to control panel here. We're going to go to appearance and themes, and we're going to do it for the college level, just to show this. Right here for my college, what I did is I just copied a picture from off my website and pasted it into this field. And there's 2 different sections on the college level. You have a regular Signin Station screen, which is like if you didn't set up a lab for it and you just set up a Signin Station, what the default in a sense would be. And up here is the header content. This is what would show up at the top of your Accudemia when you're logged in, actually. So I just created a table and put, the headers in here and put my logo. But basically all I did was, like, let's say this was my website here. I just copied the image and then I went down in here and pasted it in. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay, it's wanting me to put it in this little screen first and then hit OK, and it put it down in here. So, but yeah, that's pretty much. And then you have all your formatting options like you normally would. You can bold things, underline. You can even do this insert image. I don't think it's on all of them, this insert image, so it's probably easier to copy and paste. But that's probably why you didn't, if you didn't see it, that's what you're saying. Let me see. Oh, and then I'm going to click this to get out. Alright, but then I would save my changes, and that would show up on the screen. Okay, is AccuWB free with Accudemia? No, it's actually a separate program. It's something that we had integrated where you can link it up to your Accudemia, but the AccuWB is a separate program where you can actually run the whiteboard sessions. It's pretty neat setting that up. There's also more information at the documentation site that I see Diego had posted there. It's attendancetracking.com/doc or docs. I'm sorry. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that and what you can do with it. What if we are open past 8:30 at night? Center off times. This also affects the staff's schedules. Okay, there was two sections where that kind of was done. You want to set the college off times. Let's see. We're going to go to, I don't know if you guys can see this here still, but we're going to apply, we're going to do term mode so we can see the off times. So like for instance, the school is only available from, I have it 8 to 6. Alright, but that's one thing, but let's say for instance you know, you have some people that are here till 9, but for some reason it's not showing the 9 on here. What you would have to do is go back to your control panel. I believe it's under General. And under Calendars, you want to post what times that it shows till. So I'm going to go to 12 p.m. just to, you know, change that. Alright, and we're going to go to back to what was it, off times, apply. Oh, I put 12 p.m. didn't I? So you see how it changes it though. Basically you can, if you go to your control panel in General, you can change to whatever. I meant to do 12 a.m. Alright, so we go to off times. And that'll also affect the screens. That affects the entire Accudemia website when you make that change. So it'll actually change the screens for your tutor schedule as well. Because if you notice, this is very similar to, and what I'm doing right here is I'm just setting this as off time, school closed. Pardon me. But yeah, this will basically expand out your view of what you can schedule for. Let's see, will Accudemia computer automatically log students off at a specific time? Yes, if you set it up that way. Let's go in here real quick. And we're going to go to Control Panel. And, hold on. Okay, here it is. I'm sorry. It was actually under Control Panel General. I'm sorry. The maximum sign-in duration. So I have mine set to 120 minutes, but if I wanted them to automatically be logged off after a certain time, like you could set that to 4 hours or however long you want. You just have to figure it out in minutes. And basically, if anybody's logged in for longer than 2 hours, they'll get kicked out. Yeah, you can actually set the number of digits that the ID card is read. Basically, that was in the one section where we went into user accounts under the control panel, and you set this masking here. So let's see, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean I can put a bunch of numbers in here, so it just depends on how long your thing is, but you're basically going to use the number 9 just to represent numbers and the L for lettering, but you can put that as long as you want or as short as you want, so that way it doesn't read. Manual sign in, sign out for the tutors if you have to. And to see where that is, it's going to be under sign in, sign out, manual sign in, sign out. And basically you can select either your students or your tutors. And you just have to choose the right thing and then go ahead and log them out. Oh, there we go. Okay, under show filters, you're going to have to choose the tutor. I know I changed mine to counselor, and then click apply. There we go. And I actually don't think I have anybody signed in, but I could do it real quick. And that would sign them in, and then you could sign them out the same way. Alright, and I think we're pretty much wrapped up. I would like to thank everyone once again for coming out. And if you could take the survey at the end, we appreciate that. Have a great day, and thank you for attending. Bye.